Good evening and welcome to the 8 p.m. news on Canal English with me, Anette Sume. We begin with our top stories for tonight. Life in the northwest and southwest regions of the country is completely paralyzed as 10 days of ghost town unfold. What has even sparked division amongst activists. 360 municipalities and 14 councils in Cameroon are taking part in the very first ever conference of councils that opens today in Yaoundé. And out of the country, former Senegalese President Abdoulaye Wade has called for this month's election to be cancelled. Developments would be yours right ahead. People in most parts of the southwest region continue to live in fear as 10 days of ghost town intensified. It was another bad day for the people as separatist fighters battled with the military. Details with Crystal Katala.
Government authorities were the first to brush aside the so-called 10 days lockdown in the northwest and southwest region as local authorities called on the population to go about their daily activities in serenity. The governor of the southwest region, Bernard Okalabilai, had last week warned that civil servants who fail to show up will be severely sanctioned, while the vice-chancellor of the University of BUEA gave similar warnings to the administration and students of the institution. But not only the government is against this lockdown that has already entered day 3. A faction of the separatist movement has kicked against this move, describing it as a big blunder. Bo Herbert, one of the frontline leaders of the movement for the restoration of the independence of Southern Cameroon, distanced himself from the lockdown, describing it as a move to further throw more misery on the masses who are already suffering as a result of the crisis. Tapang Ivo Tanko, spokesman of the Amazonian Defense Forces, said the lockdown will punish masses and subject the local population to atrocities from both sides. On his part, human rights lawyer Felix Agwonkongo, on his official Facebook page, condemned the so-called lockdown, wondering how lawyers will move out of BUEA on February the 7th to defend Siseko Ayoktabe and Co. at the Yaoundé Military Court. The president of the Center for Human Rights and Democracy in Africa described the decision as insensitive, which does not take into account the suffering of the masses. However, although activists have insisted the 10-day ghost town would hold and have advised the population to remain indoors to avoid clashes between separatist fighters and the Cameroonian military.
Well, that was Regina Lekefonja Tanda reporting on the confusion that the 10 days of ghost town has sparked amongst some separatist leaders. And we move over to the northwest region where it was another day of inactivities in BAMENDA and other parts of the region this Wednesday as Day 3 of the general lockdown in the English-speaking parts of the country continued. Even most government offices did not open, as we hear in the following report with Ndi Morin.
It is the third day this Wednesday that Bamenda and other towns in the northwest region are in a lockdown. All commercial activities have remained grounded, including many government offices, as the workers have not been able to make it to their job sites, mostly for lack of means of transportation and the fear factor that has enveloped the entire region. Characterized by graveyard silence, the only very few vehicles that have been in circulation are those of the military on security patrols and emergency services like ambulances conveying needy and helpless persons to hospitals. Some gunshots were heard at about 11 o'clock last night, but no details have so far emerged. The 10-day shutdown has been called for by the visual Amazonian interim government as they continue to protest the arrest and detention of their leaders and others by Cameroonian authorities, according to a recent interview granted by their spokesperson to the Voice of America Radio.
We go back to the southwest region where the population continue to live in fear as ghost town days continue. Most of the people have been forced to remain indoors as separatist fighters battle out with the military. Crystal Catala.
Panic continues to reign in BUEA as the 10-day ghost town, declared by independent fighters, enters day 3. Several gunshots are ongoing in the localities of Mustin, Mai 17, Moliko, Bonduma, in BUEA, headquarters of the Southwest region. Inhabitants of the Southwest region continue to respect the lockdown as businesses, schools remain closed. In the Boduma neighborhood, several damages have been recorded. Early this morning, 4 private vehicles and a taxi were set ablaze. Despite the intensification of military patrols in BUEA, headquarters of the Southwest region, separatist fighters are more than ever before determined to make their impact felt. The people of the Southwest region, who are living in total fear, have remained indoors. Reports say it was around 3 p.m. that forces of law and order got involved in mass arrest of some suspected young men in Ndongo and Moliko. Activities are still paralyzed. BUEA, which in the past was noted to be a clean city, is full of garbage as heaps are seen everywhere in town.
We move over to the West region where the fear of the unknown continues to loom in BABADJOU after a day after alleged separatist fighters invaded the village, vandalized property and set other infrastructure ablaze. The people say they are afraid for their lives. Morin tells us more.
This is BABADJOU village in the West region of Cameroon, 24 hours after alleged separatist fighters invaded the village. They attacked the territorial brigade situated at the border checkpoint that shares boundary with the Northwest region. It was here that a security officer was murdered in cold blood some days back, an incident which is still fresh in the minds of the locals. Ever since then, the people have been living in fear. And this Tuesday, they experienced what they have described as the biggest tragedy from alleged restoration forces. According to some people who happen to have witnessed the happenings, they disclosed they saw 6 individuals who came on board a motorcycle and immediately vandalized Government Bilingual High School, Zavam, a school situated a few kilometers from Santa. Reports hold that a majority of the students had run away from the crisis in the Northwest region and had settled in BABADJOU, where they were now schooling. The administrative block, library, 2 vehicles and 7 motorcycles were all set ablaze.
La réunion tenait essentiellement sur le renforcement de nos comités de vigilance.
Both the students and teachers have escaped to an unknown destination. The students and school officials have called on the authorities to beef up security if they have to school again. The SDO and the mayor of BABADJOU, after visiting the affected sites, immediately held a crisis meeting. Amongst the participants were traditional chiefs and members of the vigilante group. Although one of the resolutions was for all to remain vigilant, the population expressed a wish to see their land secure so they could sleep in peace.
Extreme violence along the Cameroon-Chad border has been reduced to maximum and will soon be completely wiped out. This revelation was made today during the second evaluation meeting of the cross-border project. Details of this report.
Decentralization means giving powers to the local people. This statement was made this Wednesday morning in Yaoundé by Prime Minister Joseph John Ngute as he opened the first ever General Conference on Councils.
The revitalization of local democracy is indispensable. It is inseparable from providing a new phase of council governance. This conference will contribute to this. The future of our decentralization process is at stake here. In this respect, it is important to recall the cardinal principle of decentralization enshrined in Article 55 of the Constitution, namely free administration by elected council boards and bureaus.
Councils will henceforth have some financial autonomy with the acceleration of the decentralization process. Although the Yaoundé meeting is timely, some mayors still believe that nothing will change.
If decentralization laws were put into place since 1996, I repeat, since 1996, and up to now, we're still complaining that 3/4 of the ministry have not yet devolved their powers to local decentralized institutions like the councils. I doubt if the resolutions of today will be implemented immediately.
Yes, we have many expectations. As you know, we need a public local service, and we also need financial resources, because our job, we cannot do it if we don't have money.
With the acceleration of the decentralization process, mayors and government delegates will have to be more responsible in the management of local affairs.
Whether it is the mayor or government delegate, our cities need to be headed by leaders who are able to formulate a vision and to translate that vision into actions. Indefatigable servants of the cause of local development, builders anxious to leave a positive and lasting impression. Being a mayor in the context of Cameroon cities and countryside, where so many things are to be imagined and done to improve the living conditions of our people, is not a sinecure, but a vocation, a mission that we must accomplish with commitment, passion, and self-sacrifice.
The 2 days conference that is ending this Thursday is having in attendance the 360 mayors and the 14 government delegates representing the municipalities and city councils across the 4 corners of the Republic.
That was Prime Minister Joseph Dion Gute officially opening the first ever General Conference of Councils in Cameroon, where 360 councils are taking part alongside 14 city councils. The aim of this conference is to accelerate the decentralization process in Cameroon. And we get back to this other report where extreme violence along the Cameroon-Chad border has been reduced to maximum, and it will soon be completely wiped out. Revelation made today as the second evaluation session of the cross-border pilot project held. This report with Beatrice Ngamu.
Cameroon and Chad are 2 brotherly and friendly nations, but most importantly also, the 2 are victims of extreme violence on the countries and population. And it is from here that the United Nations Peace Building Fund was born, with the support of the United Nations system for the 2 countries, and targeting specifically the vulnerable populations living across the borders of these countries.
And the objective was effectively to identify very specific issues which arise or which occur following the consequences of the conflict. So as of today, the execution rate is very satisfactory. We are driving towards the end of the project. We want to be sure that by the time we close the project, we have attained our objectives as initially designed at 100%.
Since its launch in December 2017, the team have been able to
open up important space for dialogue in the communities across the border at Lake Chad on points of potential conflict and how to manage conflict locally.
And this has led to the openness of the country.
Very important factor, because this is essential. The commerce, the movement of people and goods across the border between Cameroon and Chad in this region is extremely important.
The Chadian government, represented by Ramadan Ndiaye, adds that their focus was to support, perpetuate and appropriate with the objective of extending to other borders. This February 6th meeting in Yaoundé is to talk about the durability and sustainability of this kind of dialogue and efforts. And the resident representatives of UNICEF and PNUD to Cameroon and Chad were present at this second session of the pilot committee for the cross-border project named Peace Building Fund.
The proliferation of disposable baby diapers in Cameroon is of major concern to the Agency of Standards and Quality, which has described some as toxic. Despite the advantages of this raised by some mothers, pediatricians have warned that your wrong usage might hamper a child's health. Abo Gladys Dibang reports.
It is now commonplace for mothers, both young and old, to use disposable baby diapers from the day their babies are born. Many mothers who talk to us, but acknowledge anonymity, explained that disposable baby diapers are cheaper, easy to use, portable and fashionable. Dr. Ngu Ernest, pediatrician, contradict the facts, saying these diapers are expensive if properly used.
But nowadays, the diapers, you need money because you have to change those diapers frequently. Every 4 hours is the best. And not to talk, despite of the timing, if they are soiled, you have to change immediately. Then make sure you change every 4 hours, soil or not soil. A common African woman, and especially a common Cameroonian woman with her main resources, cannot afford that. So what they do, they put the diaper at 6 o'clock in the morning, they'll remove 6 o'clock in the evening. What happens? You accumulate stool, you accumulate urine, irritates the buttocks and the perigenital areas. And also from the stool now, germs will migrate into the bladder and cause urinary infection. Later they will migrate down to the kidney and cause maybe renal failure as a result of frequent urinary infections, as I said initially.
In the markets, all sorts of brands and quality of disposable baby diapers are available. From 25 CFA francs, models could get a piece from the bale of retail diapers like these ones. Those found in packets cost 1,000 CFA francs and above. The diapers are imported from France, Germany, China and Spain. Those found in bales are specifically imported from neighboring Nigeria.
The diaper comes from Nigeria, so we import it in Nigeria and we send it to here through the sea. This one, is we call it Morphis now. It's moving very, very well. Yeah, people like it here, no matter the price, but people are still.
The proliferation of these disposable baby diapers is of great concern. The Director General of the Cameroonian Agency for Standards and Quality, Charles Boto Angong, has drawn the attention of the Minister of Commerce over some of these diapers, specifically from France, which he described as toxic, and fear it would expose consumers to the risks associated with the product. Pediatricians believe the mode of usage is the problem.
It's important that they have to draw attention to diapers in children because today there's virtually an increase in health hazard related to diapers use. Okay, so it is important. It is important to note that this poses a major health problem and consequent attention of the drawn.
The warning from Arnaud over the proliferation of baby diapers did not specify the brand. As such, leaves consumers confused over which brand to trust.
Today is being observed as International Day of Zero Tolerance for Female Genital Mutilation. At least 200 million girls and women alive today have undergone female genital mutilation. In Cameroon, this shameful practice is still going on in some parts of the southwest region and the northern regions. Ending the practice of female genital mutilation has become a serious fight the world over, as many women, especially the older generation, hold tight to the practice which they see as tradition. We now talk Youth Week activities, where activities have been launched in Makak in the Nyongankele division of the Central Region. School children have demonstrated what the 11th February March past will look like in this part of the country. Beatrice Gamo was there and now reports.
The Youth Week fever is hot here at Mbeni Village, Makak, Nyong, and Kele division of the Central Region of Cameroon. And a kickoff was given by the Divisional Officer of Makak in the person of Patrick Landry Ajeza, inviting the population to participate in the building of a peaceful Cameroon with appeal for stability, peace, unity for an emergent country. In line with the theme of this 53rd edition of National Youth Day, come February 11, youths, greater opportunities and participation in the building of a peaceful, stable and emergent Cameroon. Elites of the areas, like traditional authorities, took part at the launch, spiced with animation by nursery, primary school pupils and secondary school students. Engagement and intellectual commitments, prescriptions handed the children, advising them to abstain from drugs, bad practices due to bad companies, as hard work the key to a successful education and life. A foretaste of the picture next February 11 at Mbeng, like Makak, with March past to celebrate the National Youth Day.
Still on Youth Week activities, some young Cameroonians have been called upon to work towards the development of the nation. Central Regional Governor Nasiri Paul Biya was today talking in SAR, Leke Division, as he launched Youth Week activities. Let's now, in the following excerpt, listen to what the governor told the youths exactly.
At the center of every development of a country. And the head of state, in his policy of greater opportunities, this time says that the youth have to seize this opportunity and to, more than ever before, be present in all development initiatives and efforts. That the youths have to do everything possible to shun away from those divisive and tendencies that do not lead to progress. And that the youths have this opportunity this time to have somebody who is even less than 40 in government, less than 40 managing strong public services. So it is an opportunity for these youths to be focused, as I told them, and to make sure that they work for the...
That was Central Regional Governor Nasiri Paul Biya talking to our reporter Beatrice Ngamu. And we now move out of the country, where Senegal's former president Abdoulaye Wade has called for this month's election to be cancelled over fears they could lead to instability. Mr. Wade lives in France but is due to return to Senegal this week and is calling for peaceful protest. The 92-year-old is a fierce critic of President Macky Sall, who is seeking a second term. Abdoulaye Wade's son, Karim, was barred from standing due to previous corruption convictions. This information brings us to the end of the newscast tonight on Canal de English. Thanks for watching.
Canal.